Good evening, everyone, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy, coming to you live from Applewood Station in Denver, Colorado, where it is 3 degrees Celsius outside and mostly cloudy. Hello, Brent. Welcome. So, yeah, that's about right. Hey, Der Kaiser, huh? Hi, Kaiser. I'll call you Kaiser because Der sounds weird. So, yeah, I am going around here and just kind of looking at various things. Oh, now the lights think that they need to change. I'm just saying. I was in my blue period. Now I'm out of my period, you see. It's because I started my show like a couple of moments earlier. Just call me Kaiser. Okay, I will. I started a little earlier than I usually do. So we had to go through that whole thing there. So, all right. How are we all doing this evening? How's everything out there in the outside world? Like a lot of lag. Yeah, it doesn't. Now I've messed up the routine system. I didn't mess it up. I pulled all of the routines that weren't critical because I could not figure out one routine was on my lights at 6 a.m. every morning, and so I have changed. So I needed to change the routine. It's 5 a.m. there. Ugh, that's brutal. That's brutal. So you're over in Europe, I suspect. So you probably, I mean, that puts you pretty much in the middle of Europe, which is cool. It is 9:03 p.m. here in the middle of the United States. So it's one of those, we do our best. I'm looking outside and I'm like, well, it's not so bad. And it's, it's a nice warm 5 degrees Celsius because, winter in Colorado. So there you go. Germany. Man, Germany can be brutally cold this time of year too. Hi, Choco. I was in April, and it was bitterly, brutally cold. And I mean, when I say that, I'm saying, like I'm a Coloradan. I'm used to cold. I'm good with the cold, but man, it's like I could never quite get warm. So weird. It was like there was a couple of days there, and I guess it must have been humidity because you guys had a high humidity or something going on. But I was in Wiesbaden, and then we drove up to Berlin, and then we took a train. We drove back to Wiesbaden, and we took a train to Paris, My sister and I, because my sister was in Germany at the time. So I really loved Germany. That was a very pretty place. It was just very lovely. It's a lovely, lovely place. You're more of a winter guy. You know what? I That's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm like, when it starts to get up into the mid 40s, I'm like, no, no, people, no, this is not okay. But we've been getting, you know, low to mid 40s for summertime now, and I'm like, that's not acceptable, people. Because I'm with you. I'm a winter person. I'll take the cold. I'll take the cold. Mm, that was pretty brutal. All right. I don't know what I'm going to draw today. I want to draw something because drawing seems like a fun thing to do. So I'm going to try to draw something, but uh, smack middle. I'm in Colorado, Chaco. I'm coming from the Denver metro area. So just outside of Denver in Colorado. So where are you coming in from, my friend? Where are you? I don't know what I want to draw. What do I want to draw? Does anybody even know? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. We just do our best. Actually, I like this pencil enough. I'm going to move this pencil into my personal pencils. That's fair. Oh, Minnesota. Oh, man. Yeah, Minnesota. Oof. My sister in law lived there for quite a while. And that was a thing. Is it snowing currently or just there's snow on the ground? Because with Minnesota, it could be both. We still got a little bit of snow here from the snowstorm that came through Friday night, but it usually goes away pretty quickly here. And snow doesn't stay here very long. I mean, we've got snow, it will snow, and Friday night was pretty hairy trying to drive home. We were at a friend's house and across town, and we had to drive home, and we never got above, say, 30 miles an hour ever. Oh, yeah, that's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. So, but yeah, we almost got like run over by a guy in a snow with a snowplow. That was unpleasant. There's this guy and he was just driving down the road at like and he was doing I want to say 40 or 50 miles an hour and of course there's ice and snow on the roads and he's just barreling down the road and we luckily my best bud was driving and he just pulled right over into the right hand lane. But when that plow went by it wasn't like a normal, it wasn't Colorado Department of Transportation. It was some guy in a pickup truck with a snowplow on the front. But when he passed us, you could feel the wind moving it over. Oh, Kaiser, that's a good question. I really like the feel of drawing on paper, on actual paper. I like how it feels and I like the texture. Um, but I've been trying to move over to pencil and digital just so that I don't get I don't know. It's easier on the it's easier. I'm going to turn on music here. Good rock. So I've been working on a comic for a while now. And I've been working on a comic recently, and in the comic, I've been I'm on issue 2 and 3. IBLS paint. Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. Let's see here. See, now you're acting funny. Why am I having control problems? Hang on a quick, guys. I'm gonna see what I've got going on here. Oh, okay. Is that X because it's on an Apple machine, or usually when I see X, it typically means Apple, and you know, cool. The Apple machines are really good for drawing. Oh, it's not an Apple? Gotcha. Oh, an Apple. I'm looking for a specific thing up here. Just checking in on it's totally fine. It's on Apple. Yeah, and that's totally cool. Do you use a tablet? I mean, because this is what I'm using here is an XP Pen 22E. It's a 22-inch monitor, but also a tablet. So I get instant feedback. So the tablet's here. In fact, you can kind of see it lighting up my face, sort of. iPad. And oh yeah, the Apple Pencil. Man, I gotta admit, I've messed with a couple of Apple Pencils, and I'm not gonna lie, they are nice. They are nice. Alrighty. Kind of moving along in here. Right? What is it with the bots? Yeah, Kaiser, I agree. I mean, I do like working on paper. The Blue Whale TikTok bots. There are things going on out there. Things going on. I don't know what's happening. Oh, the PFPS? Eee. Yikes. Man, that is a rabbit hole, all right. I am right now looking for something in my morgue that I can use to kind of get started on this. I like using the morgue. Every artist should have a morgue. So morgues are, I use that term, and I guess it might even be kind of out of style these days, but a morgue is sort of where you take other people's artwork and drop it into a folder, and just kind of every so often, if you're like, I need an idea, I got to think of something, you'll pull up the morgue on this. Anthro animals. I like drawing. I really do. It's good for me. It makes me feel, healthy and like I'm doing the right thing. And I know that sounds weird, but I've been drawing all of my life, and So it's kind of one of those things where, oh, hey there, Jackson. We got a couple of people on here. Um, Chaco's coming in from Minnesota and Kaiser's coming in from Germany, where every place is cold. We've just decided that the whole lot of us are cold. That's the way it is. We're all just cold, which Kaiser and I are saying we're not actually opposed to. We're just saying that's the opinion we've got going on here. We don't have a consensus because Brent's on here too, and I'm not sure what Brent's opinion is, but we don't have a consensus. But you can always get my opinion on it. It's in the mid. Okay. I see. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of dig the Jormal as a typo. That's a pretty cool typo. So, what's your idea on your comic, Chaco? Actually, I'm gonna go this way. Put this arm this way. That's cold. Yeah, that's fair. That's cold. Oh, that's kind of cool. Kaiser, you are Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. I feel like every time we have any kind of discussion about just building snowmen and destroying it, Calvin comes up from Calvin and Hobbes. It's only a matter of time. I like the idea, the Anthrofrog. How long? I'll bring it up. Hang on. I don't know if I have it marked, but we will find out here. Hang on, hang on. I feel like I marked it somewhere along the line. We'll find out. Nope, 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 nope. Don't do that. Weird, whatever thing you're doing. Really don't need you doing that. Do. Everything takes so long now because there's so many pictures. There we go. Let's see what we got. Well, I didn't put a scale on here, but I know that each one of these squares is going to represent 1 meter. So we just count them up. So let's see what we got. Deck 1. Oh, so each one of these is 10, 20, 30 to the quarter deck, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 96 meters in length. No, yeah, this is my primary ship. This is the hero ship. And he's right, I probably should be working on it. But, we're not. And I keep meaning to and stuff, and I just don't. Well, that's not true. I'm doing fine on that. Here, I'll show you a better view of her. Something where she's actually rendered out the way she's supposed to be. There we go. That's what she looks like. IRL. There. That's the UMC Kitty Wake. So yeah, so basically she's about a football field long. Do I have my own avatar? Anytime I usually put myself online where I don't want people to know exactly who I am, the avatar I tend to use is my captain. And because she's the one that I know the best. So my captain, here, I'll pull up a picture of her. I got captain pictures everywhere. I got like a zillion captain pictures because I like her. She's cool. But I have to keep changing places here. I have to change. There we go. That's her. So anytime I usually use yes. So anytime I use my online persona, I tend to use her. Because I like this picture. Well, I don't use this picture usually. Usually I use this other picture because this is funnier. That's a funnier picture. So I'll use one of these and I'll pull them out of here and then use that. Okay. 9,600 centimeters. Yeah, that's 60 centimeters at scale. That makes sense. Let's see here. I'm trying to decide where I put my big ruler. I think I have accidentally buried my big ruler. That does not surprise me in the least. Okay. Obukibi. Yes. Well, and a football pitch is 100 meters, right? Or I'm sorry, it's not. It'd be 30 meters. 33 meters? No, 30 meters. Yep. Because, I mean, really, she's 100 meters, which means she should be 3 football fields. No, she's about 1 football field. Yeah. Doing the math wrong. Was an English teacher. I was not a math teacher. I say that routinely. Yep. 100 yards is about, give or take, 100 meters. Roughly. It's very, very rough, though. But a football pitch should be 100 meters, so they're about the same size. Yeah, I mean, it could be 1 kilometer, and you have to have really, really good players. I'm just saying, in really good health. So, hey, Brad. Oh, are you hanging out over there? I'm not. I've got too many screens up. In case you're wondering, I've actually printed my comics. They're printed out and had them 120 yards, give or take. I was drawing. All right, back to drawing me. All right. No. Yes. I need to move this up to here. I'm going to do that. It's all good. I think we're good. I think we figured it out. There we go. Keep this open. I'm opening and closing things over here so that I can keep an eye on all the controls and have on this monitor an inspirational piece. All right. Seriously, I started drawing when I was 17. That was probably when I started. I mean, like, seriously drawing. Before that, I was scribbling like everybody else. But so, yeah, see, I'm already messing it up. I'm not helping myself. I'm just marking out the positions and places of things on here. Well, you started late. That's still okay. I mean, I agree with, there's no right time or wrong time. You know what I mean? There's no... This is a weird angle, so I'm really kind of working through this angle, trying to kind of get my landmarks kind of straightened out. Yeah, I mean, what's late? It doesn't matter, you're here now, right? And that's the important part. We're all here now. Oh, heavens no. No, my friend, don't worry about that. I am going back to college right now, and I'm 50. So there's no late time, or there's never too late. It's never too late. All right, well, roommate's not back, and I was like, hey, are you okay? Do I need to come rescue you? And, no, I'm okay. Okay. You do you, boo. All right. sometimes you get yourself blocked into a wall and you're like, really? Like, I can move this and shrink it a little. I can actually move it down over here like this. Let's pull it off to one side here. Once I have sort of the landmarks in, I can move in a little closer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So actually, I'm not happy with, say, where the arms are going in. So we're going to try something like, hey, we're going to do something like this arm needs to be moved out to here. Thereabouts, right? Looks about right. So one of the problems that I've often had when, Kaiser, you were talking about drawing digitally earlier. And one of the things that I have a problem with drawing digitally is I get very caught up in the detail, and then I lose sight and start drawing off into Nowheresville, and then I kind of lose the plot of the picture. So the first thing I like to do is go through here and put in sort of my points of just kind of getting the shape of the body in and rough that in first. I think this needs to go like this and then go like that. There we go. And kind of get an idea of what I wanted to do first. In here. You want more forehead up here. Because despite the fact that we've done all of this, truth of the matter is her head's really more like up here. So, do this. Bring that hair around like so. And bring it forward. Alright. There we go. And that way I can kind of just get a good feel of where everything belongs. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that point. I think you're not wrong. Actually, probably just do this. Probably don't even need all of this part down here. But on the flip side, onion skinning is so much easier on digital. It's so much easier to onion skin. Because all I got to do is just make a new layer. And that's it. I think the challenge when you're dealing with digital is losing sight of the big picture. I feel like that's always been my biggest problem. And so my biggest issue has always been kind of, trying to kind of hold the big picture in one place here. And kind of keep track of where we are, a grander scheme. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not to condemn. I think both have good points and bad points to them. Um, yeah. Well, okay. before before this gets too out of hand here, a couple of things. I mean, a not necessarily. Uh, I mean, some people do digital work and some people don't. There's nothing wrong with either one of those. I do both. Um, and personally, my feeling generally is that okay, okay, stay discussion-y though. Be nice. I'll let you guys talk. I like both. I have always liked both. There's a time for me for digital and there's a time for traditional. But the problem that I've got that I always have, which is not something that Kaiser's bringing up, but it is something that I run into whenever I work digitally, is it doesn't look like it does on paper. I like the chaos. I like, um, and so I've been struggling as a digital artist on the digital side to make it look more like okay, just keep keep it civil, people. Um, as a digital artist, I struggle with like this pencil here. It does look like a pencil. It's got this kind of grit to it that it's getting in there. And when I come in here with inks, it's going to be a lot more complicated. Yeah, see, I don't think that, and this is where I make more adjustments. But on the flip side, what I'm doing right now is markedly harder. You know, I can't obviously just keep the piece of art that I just made and on a piece of paper rotate it, which I just did there because I went off my guide. And so knowing that I went off my guide there, because here's where I should be looking at where the lips end up coming out from underneath the philtrum here, right? Alrighty. And forgive me, guys. It's hard to see intention in text, as we all well know. So I can't tell whether you guys are actually getting mad at each other or not. So as long as you're not getting mad at each other, I'm good, man. I'm good. Y'all do you. There we go. That's much more. The lips are so hard to do on here because from this angle, you're underneath the lips. And it's so weird. And this is such a strange area to get under here like this. As long as you guys are good, I'm good. And of course, I'm trying to kind of get this effect right here of just a little bit further out on the bottom. And this needs to be rounded a little bit more. And this needs to be tilted a little bit more there. Brad, if you join me, you might want to stick a note in the chat just to tell me, because sometimes I hear the little signal somebody has joined and sometimes I don't. So Cat can join and they have control, but that's a little bit different. And see, I'm fighting with this lip again. It's going this way, and I want it to kind of go around this corner, like this. And now I think I have kind of botched it, but I feel like that's kind of, yeah, I feel like this is going more this way. This is where her mouth ends up there. That's it. And then I'll move there like so. Yeah, for me, that's the same. I'm digital because it's cheaper. It costs far, far less for me to do this on this form here. And if I were to... Oh, well, thanks. I'm not busy. You can join if you want. Although, I also, if you're just drawing and you're just doing good, you can just hang in the vibe here and vibe with me. Digital is in the long run cheaper. So one of the things that's happening right now, Kaiser, is I'm going through a phase of paring down. I have so much, and I have kept all of my work that I have done over the last 30 years, 40 years. And it's just boxes and boxes of paper. Well, I don't want to just throw stuff away. So what I'm doing is I'm photographing it all. I've got a setup rig over here where I've got a camera aimed straight down with lights on either side. And I just put the piece of paper down, hit click, and throw the paper away. And then I've got a copy of the art. And you're probably wondering, why don't I scan it? And that's because that scanner over there takes forever to do one. Whereas if I've got a stack of pages this big, then I can go through that in a night. You know, just put one down, click, throw it away, put one down, click, throw it away, put one down, click, throw it away. And it doesn't take as long. So, but I mean, in the end, that's really what we've got is, you know, in the long run, it's just cheaper. Like so. Kind of going along this outside edge here. I'm just dialing this in off my reference. Got my reference up here, and nothing wrong with that at all. So I'm just dialing this in and getting it to where it's supposed to be. Kind of dial that in a little bit more. I feel like this is more like this. She's got less of a chubby cheek in here. I'm rolling around though on this side. Try to get this angle in here. Now see, I heard that. But it's Jackson, so you can control yourself. I'll keep drawing. All right, so then I'll come around here, just kind of bringing up this part of her head here. So her forehead's going to be through here, but a lot of it's going to be covered. So I'm not going to put too much in. Now, like I said before, her head's kind of risen up a little bit more now. So I'm going to kind of adjust accordingly. So this part of her hair is going to be coming out from here-ish, give or take, and across the front of her face like that. And then we're going to take this part here and just bring it around. Kind of do this. Just matching that. Now that's one where I'm not sure. I mean, I agree because I'm a big 2D animation fan. I love traditional animation. It's what my first college degree was in. And I definitely agree that there is much more personality in a 2D animated movie. But I don't think it needs to be hand-drawn. There are so many steps that you go through. I am? That's weird. I can add you, though.
Oh, just keep me small. I'm not actually doing digital drawing today, so I gotta work on that manga called diary thing. Can you hear me?
That's fine. Hang on real quick. I'm working it.
You're good.
Not exactly. Oh, I know. I can just do this.
There you go.
This.
Yeah, that works better. Yeah, because I'm not drawing today. Can you hear me, though?
I can hear you, though.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure, because we don't all know how the mic hates me.
Yes. We've had issues before.
Yeah. I'm glad we got that sorted out, though. So I just have my little, like, eyeball floaty avatar thingy down there.
Yeah, your underwater thing, though, looks so Evangelion. I'm just saying.
It is. It actually is the same GIF.
That's why.
I just ripped it.
I'm like, that's such an Evangelion thing. Oh, my goodness.
Doesn't it look beautiful, though? I absolutely loved it. And, like, because my main character, he mostly does, like, water magic, I thought it would be, like, a perfect fit for...
I'm with that.
Mm-hmm. A movie made on paper have more soul. I definitely don't agree with that. I think the fact that it's hand drawn, it doesn't matter like what the medium is. It's still hand drawn. Like you still have to hand draw the thing. Just because you drew it on a computer, like you have to hand draw every line on a computer versus doing it on paper. It doesn't make it better than the other. I just completely disagree with that. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what I was saying. There's so many steps when it comes to actual animation. I have downstairs. I still have somewhere downstairs. I've got the original LD Laserdisc of Beauty and the Beast, released in
Ooh.
1991, and it wasn't
Wow.
finished. So it's the New York Film Festival
Oh.
version of it, and
Oh yeah, I heard
it's
about
not
that.
finished. So when you watch it, it goes, it's got a completely
Hmm.
done scene, and then it goes to storyboard. Sometimes you'll get the pencils,
Hmm.
and then it goes to a completely
Yeah,
done
yeah.
scene again, and then it's, and
That's
it's like,
crazy.
because some of the pieces weren't done, but they did the animatics in a couple of the
Hmm.
scenes, and they were able to go through with
Yeah.
storyboards on a couple, and I love it. It is the most
I love
fun
that stuff.
thing to watch because it's like
I
an
also,
X-ray. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
sorry.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, I love watching like if they have like like a lot of them like the Studio Ghibli films. If you buy like the
mhm,
special editions, they come with a version of the storyboard with the
nice.
audio. That way you can actually like watch the storyboard with the audio, which
I
is really
agree.
cool. And I remember like one time when I was at Ringling, we had Aaron
Mhm.
Blaze. If you don't know Aaron Blaze, like Brother
Yeah.
Bear, Aaron Blaze, like that guy. So he came to the school once to do like a demonstration and like talk about his career in animation and stuff, and he had a film with or like a clip from a film that they had worked really hard on, and it wasn't like completely, it was more like an animatic than it was more like an animatic than a storyboard, so it was like a slightly more finished storyboard of a film that he had been working on with a bunch of people, and I guess like it got the studio got sold to a company in China or something, and then the rights to that would have been like the amount of money to buy the rights back from the film, but the money to buy the rights for the film back from the new studio that owned it in China would have been more than they would have probably ever made releasing the
Oh,
film, and so they never like bought it back to be able to show it, and but we got to see a little bit of it, and it was hella amazing just to see like this like half in
yeah.
progress film. And one of my favorite Twitter accounts, I believe, is called Traditional Animation on Twitter, and it shows like pencil tests and animatics, and it shows that kind of stuff. It's one of my favorite Twitter
I
accounts.
agree.
It's awesome.
That's one of my
And
favorite
I miss
things is just to
animation.
watch how it's
Hmm.
made,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I feel like also when you have like the digital tools, it does make it a little bit easier to make some cool animation stuff because it's easier to do like panning and tracking and trucking and all of that stuff. Like it gets a little bit easier to do all of those things. And I mean, like even Studio Ghibli
Yeah.
utilizes 3D. I mean, they've been utilizing 3D for a long time. Even like back in like Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke days, they were utilizing
Oh, yeah.
3D.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the Tatarigami at the beginning of Mononoke was
That's
3D.
nice.
So, and one I forget. I'm trying to remember what else was 3D in Princess Mononoke. I think the god like at the end with like the head and stuff. One of those things, like part of that, I think was also 3D. Um, Howl's Moving Castle had 3D in it too, so like everyone's like, oh, all these, and like when you think of Studio Ghibli, you think of like traditional hand drawn animation, and a lot of it is, but a lot of the cleanup is still
Hmm.
digital. So a lot of films are actually mixed media. Like sure, like the original drawings, like cells may be traditional, and a lot of the backgrounds are matte paintings, but that still doesn't mean that there's no digital in that process. So a lot
Right.
of the films that we think of as like 2D traditional hand-drawn films are a beautiful blend of digital and traditional and 2D and 3D. They just were so good at it back then that they hit it really well.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as me blending my 3D into this as well. I mean, I hope that it's not obvious, but I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious what I'm doing, but I always hope that it's not.
Yeah, same. I do the
Yeah.
best that I can. Like if I use a 3D model for something, I definitely like redraw it from scratch. I try not to use I mean, I still will convert the line art as best I can, and I'll use that as my sketch.
Right.
That way I already have the lines and I can use that as my sketch, and then I can draw on top of it. I can change it as needed. For example, like there's like a house type 3D model that I have that's like a primitive 3D model, but I only use it to get the general perspective, right? To figure out where my two different, when I'm doing like 2 point perspective, to like figure out where my stuff is.
I agree. I think that's. See, you need to be at the top of this list. Oh.
Right, but see, a lot of mangaka have like assistants, have out the ass assistants. I'm not sure if you mean Shinichi Sakamoto might have been the person I was thinking of, but there's a lot of mangaka that have tons and tons and tons of assistants, that have to help them, so they're not one person, doing everything, So I'm not sure like which mangaka it was, but you can't really use mangaka as a good example because the majority of them have assistants. Not all of them, obviously, because see, Junji Ito has assistants. Like there's no way the man draws everything by himself.
Well, and no, and that's definitely true. Junji Ito, Junji Ito is Junji Ito. All right, let's get in here. I'll lay down sort of these flats first. Get in here.
But also, you're speaking about a man who's been doing this for an incredibly long time. It's not surprising that he has the capabilities to draw draw 3 pages in only 9 hours. He's been doing this for an incredibly long time. He's probably been drawing longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
But moreover, I mean, if I put my head down to it, I can do a page an hour. If I really get cranking out here and work hard, it's hard. I can do it, but it's hard.
Yeah, I can do a page in about 6 hours if I really focus.
Yeah.
But that's from the very beginning. That's from sketching all the way to finish.
Right.
Yeah, that's what assistants do. They typically work on backgrounds. And with digital, like what a lot of mangaka do is they have like 3D models of their spaces, or they have like specific things that they'll do to like create their own 3D. That's what a lot of mangaka do is they'll like so Shinichi Sakamoto is someone I'd recommend to look up. Let me type out his name. How do I type in the chat here again?
You just in the main you can't do it on the main page. You have to.
Oh, okay.
Here, if you.
Because I want to type out his name, so.
Yeah, hang on real quick. On the right over there, you'll see it says like all the way far right. It's got chat. I don't know what yours looks like, but
I definitely don't have that. I wonder if I'm not signed in. That might be why.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Oh yeah, I'm not signed in. That's why. That's okay. I'll just go to the YouTube page. I'll bring
go to the YouTube page and type it up there, and then it'll come up on the. That's the easiest way, probably.
Yeah, probably.
So, where was I?
Sorry, I didn't mean to like completely steamroll it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, in fact, there's actually
what the heck I was doing.
No, you're good. There's a whole YouTube channel that shows mangaka documentaries and stuff. Well, not just mangaka, like mangaka and animators and stuff. So Shinichi Sakamoto, and then the documentary, if I can spell this right, documentary channel is Archipel. Like both, I would definitely check out the documentary on Shinichi, on Sakamoto Sensei at Archipel, because they also have one for Hiroyuki Takei, who did Shaman King, Amano, like the Final Fantasy creator or Final Fantasy artist. I don't remember who else he did documentaries on. A whole bunch. There's a bunch of different mangaka, and like big creators in the industry, and they like talk about like their process and like how they go about it. And like Sakamoto uses a lot of 3D models, but he also talks about like his experiences and like learning how to be accurate to like the time period that they're in, because like the work that he does is like super time period specific, and his work is super crazy detailed, and it's like mostly digital.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can still create like, and his work is literally like award winning. Like Dracul just got released last year, so just one example of like a mostly Hiroyuki Takei, Shaman King creator. Like he's almost completely digital these days. You know, like, and he made Shaman King, like the Shaman King. You know, so like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's also expediency.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm just remembering when does Shinichi have a personal website that's coming in from Brad?
Hmm?
Does Shinichi,
Let me check. I don't know, but I know he's pretty active on Twitter.
yeah. But that's a thing. Like I remember when I was there in Japan, they they were digging up um, a new foundation for a building, and they ended up like digging up a ton of Dragon Ball cells or something like that because they just didn't have a space for. There was no way to dispose of them, and so some of this is expedience and just not wanting to have you know problems with disposal and trying to do something with the what you've got going on. So I think that's part of also why digital is useful in that instance.
Yeah,
Um,
so it looks like his website's under construction. He does have one, but it's under construction right now. If you want his Twitter, I'm happy to like drop his Twitter in the chat here. That way, at least you can see his username. Like basically, you want to look for what's after the slash, and that's his username. So he's like super active on Twitter. Like he's always posting things. You know, mostly talking about like the art. Like he mostly just talks about his art and stuff, but he also shares his inspirations and his workspaces and his travels and other stuff. So I mean, he's a super fascinating like person to follow, I think.
mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely go watch that documentary on him. It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, his X handle is the slash. It didn't show it in the thing. Interesting. His I'll just type it out there. Maybe it's not gonna show the link. That's okay. It's a slash 14 mountain. And it's all one word, so. Yeah, I definitely think that's one benefit that digital really has, especially for animation, and that's
Mhm.
why I love Clip Studio. Is it works really? It works really really well with like cell based style of animating. Um, the way that it works. I mean, you can have Clip Studio be more of like a frame by frame or like a cell type. You can have it go either way. And that's why I really love Animation Clip Studio. It's awesome. I definitely want to do more Animation Clip Studio. I've done a few of them, not done very many. Let me see. I'm sure I could bring one of them up here. Let's see. Yeah, I say go for it. I love doing small little animations on my. I have a Samsung tablet, like one of the Galaxies, and I love doing fun little silly animations on it. Let's see. I'll show you one of the animations I made. I can show you a couple of them. Let's see. We want that'll be a media source. And I think it's in my downloads folder because I'm lazy and didn't put it in the right place. Yeah. So, for example, like here's one that I did. Whoops. Oh, where'd it go? It suddenly disappeared.
Did you have it up there?
There it goes. Oh, it disappeared again. That's so. Oh, I wonder if it's a. Oh, I bet it's because it's a GIF and it's only doing it once and it's not looping it.
Oh, that might be it.
Okay, yeah. Let me figure this out. Oh, here we go. Put it on loop. There we go. Put it on loop. So it'll just loop over and over again. Just a fun little animation there that I did in Clip Studio forever ago. So just fun little stuff. Let me find another one that I did of like a candle. Let's see if I still have it. Let's see. Properties, browse. Oh, here's the candle one that I did. Yeah, Clip Studio is really great for like these sorts of really short and simple animations. So it's really easy to do. I think this was maybe 60 something frames, I think. This one was about 60 something. Yeah, it's definitely worth it if you just want to do it for fun, for funsies. Now, Clip Studio isn't really cheap anymore, like, just to be, like, completely, like, honest. If you want to animate in Clip Studio, you have to get the EX version. And monthly, I want to say it's $8 or $9 monthly. It's really cheap.
It is, except that I'm still offended by that. You can get...
you can get it one time, yeah.
You can get it one time, and I do too. I usually do.
Yeah. If you only want to make a one-time payment, that's still an option. But you still get stability fixes. Like you still get like stability updates if you get the one-time payment option. But if you want to like get like the new features as they come out, you have to get the update pass along with the one-time purchase, or you have to just get the monthly or yearly subscription, which is what I do. I just pay yearly for the EX version, and I have 2 devices, and it costs me $99 a year, which is like $8 a month or something. So, which is way better than paying Adobe, and I'd have to have multiple Adobe programs to do the same thing. So, it's worth it to me.
I am not gonna lie, that's a definite thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Adobe has been creeping their prices.
Yeah, if I wanted to have all of the software that I wanted, it would be cheaper for me just to buy the Master Suite, which is like $50 a month or something, which is redonkulous.
Yeah.
So no thanks. I'll just pay my I use Filmora for my video editing, which I really love. It's like $20 a month for that, which they finally moved over to a monthly subscription as well. So now I have to pay $20 a month for Filmora. And then I pay the Clip Studio. So I think total for all of my video, animation, drawing, like all of my media software, I pay like $30 a month basically for everything, versus Adobe, which is like $50 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I still need an Acrobat, but I don't pay for Acrobat unless I need it that month. It's not something I need every single month. Yeah, and I can technically, I technically already have Adobe because of work. So but they're kind enough to let me use their subscription.
Right.
I'm like, it's just Adobe, it's just Acrobat, and they're like, okay. Well, yeah, you can still buy. You can still buy a one-time subscription You can still make a one-time payment for Clip Studio EX. If you want to animate, you have to have the EX version. Just FYI. You can still do 1 second's worth of animation in the Clip Studio Pro. Sorry, excuse me. But if you want to go beyond 1 minute of animation, you have to have the EX. Think extra. That's, And Clip Studio is made for manga, so it used to be called Manga Studio, and then that was that's when it was owned by Smith Micro, and when when Manga Studio was purchased by Celsius, they changed it to Clip Studio. I don't think I would care if you mentioned the name of this YouTuber. I mean, maybe you would.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're not selling. We're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I wouldn't care.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I literally just advertised Archipel, kinda. So
as soon as you said my name, I had to go back up and look because I'm sitting here now. I'm all happy and I'm.
You're in your zone.
In the zone over here.
I know you are. That's
so why I was all like.
I was like, oh, let me say guy's name so we can get him to look.
Right? You have to say my name, so I'm like, what? Oh, wait. We're talking about my stream, aren't we? I knew that. I was just testing you guys to make sure you guys knew that. That's it.
I'm just making sure you're still alive over there, guys. Super focused.
Oh, you can tell I'm alive. I'm sitting here just drawing away.
Having a grand old time.
Yeah, I'm having fun. It's like, this is great. There we go. On here. And now. Oh, yeah. Now let's get in here and start doing stuff. Now that we've got this gray, I'm going to start using this gray and darker colors to kind of get in here and really work on this. Bring the eyes around, which does mean that I'm going to have to start dimming this out a little so that I can see what I'm doing. That's not where we want to be. That's fine. You can watch the screen all you want there, or not watch the screen. That's the point. So that's actually what we're trying to accomplish here, is a safe place for us artists to just kind of get together and get the drawing done, work together as a team. Or it's called body doubling, and especially for people who are neurodivergent, it's very useful. That's her eyelash going around here. Sort of clashes out here with this, but we'll get to that in a bit. That's not a problem. All right. This is my favorite brush, is this brush that I got from Wallop. I've been a patron of that individual for a while now. And if you're a patron for a long enough time, they publish their brushes. Ooh. And their skin brush is one of my absolute favorite brushes. I just love that skin brush. They've got this brush.
It's got like just enough texture. Or...
Just got right, exactly. And if you can really kind of like get a nice grit out of it. Mm-hmm. It's so nice. I just love it. I'm so addicted to this brush.
Nice, nice.
They also do, you can watch them do process videos in real time, because they do the fast versions for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but for their patrons, they release the full version at
Oh,
normal
wow.
speed. So you can see exactly how long it takes them to do one of these paintings,
That's cool.
which is markedly faster than, well, I don't know if I'm going faster, but only because I'm just coming in here and kind of doing roughs at this moment. So, but yeah, it's a particularly cool. Yeah. This invariably is how this always goes down with me, I swear. I'll get in here and I'll start blending in colors, and then I will invariably start the color on the wrong layer. And then I'm like, well, I had them separated. I was going to keep them separated, but I guess I'm not anymore. It is the nature of the beast. See you later, Brad. Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy. Have a good night. I think one of them is Procreate. I think was one that people have really enjoyed. I think Procreate just started doing animation. So I know that's one of them. Technically, Photoshop can do both. Technically, I don't really like the way that Photoshop handles animation though. But it is something you can use.
Yeah, I was gonna say they can do a lot of things technically.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean,
Flip a Clip is one, I think, another one, but it's mostly animation. It has like a weird sort of like 16-bit look to it. It's kind of cute, actually.
yeah, my kid would be into that. I can already tell.
Yeah, Flip a Clip they used to have on like the old like the DSIs, because I have a DSI and it's got Flip a Clip on it, and that's what I used it for, forever ago.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna merge these two layers down so that they are together. Hey, Donald. Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Hi, Donald. Don't mind me. Just working on my mangaka diary entries that I totally forgot to do yesterday, and working on today's as well. People have really liked the diary entries. I thought people would find them really boring, but people have liked them. So,
Yeah, that's
hmm
cool. I think I'm going to do diary entries as well from my story.
oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing like anthropological. Like I've got a character that's an anthropological um, character, and she's going to be following my storyline while it goes through.
Oh yeah, that $900 bill. Have you figured was that a mistake? Have you gotten to talk with them about it at all?
Oh,
Are
that's
they
right.
gonna are they gonna force you to pay that?
That's brutal.
There's no way that's not a mistake.
Right. That has to be an error.
I would. I mean, yeah. I guess. I mean, it's like, do you want to pay or freeze to death? But
They won't. They won't. That's a good thing about. There's an actual law in Colorado.
oh, really?
Yeah. So you can't do that here.
That's good. Some
So
saving grace then.
that's at least a plus.
Yeah.
They can't shut off electricity here in the middle of the winter. They can do it in the summer, but they can't do it during the winter. We had a elderly couple that back in the 80s, we had an elderly couple and they just forgot to pay their bill, and because they were elderly.
Yeah.
And they forgot, and Excel shut off their power in the middle of the winter and they froze to death.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so since then they've made it illegal. You can't do that. So that was in the 80s. I remember that.
I was gonna say, I definitely don't remember that. That's
We had
horrific.
a couple of them that were like that. That also happened in one of the upper states, like Minnesota or something. Yeah, and it was just even worse because they had the money, they just forgot.
Oh, that's terrible.
Because they were elderly, and nobody went and checked on them, and nobody asked, and nobody did anything. You know what I mean? It was like
You just assumed that they don't want to pay.
They must have moved to Argentina or something. You know what I mean? It was like, where what did you think happened here? You know?
Yeah, like that would have been like if I knew it was an elderly couple, my first thought would have been, oh my god, we need to do a welfare check on these people because they didn't pay their bill. Especially if they were like historically on time,
Right.
consistently, and then all of a sudden they don't pay. Like, to me, that would be a red flag that, oh my gosh, we need to check on these people. Like, can we make sure they're okay?
Right.
That would have been my first thought if I was working there.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, maybe somebody did raise a flag or something, but yeah. But at least we've got that to our advantage on Donald's side. They can't kick him out, or they can't shut off the power as long as we are in the winter. I mean, not like that's awesome, but at least it's better than, nothing.
Yeah. You mean they can shut you off? He just said they can't.
Yeah, there's actually a law against it. I'll look it up, Donald, just in case. Yeah, Minnesota cold weather rule. Question is that in Colorado? Yep. So we also have a hardship policy. It says customers are entitled to have gas, heat, and electric service turned on between November 1st and May 1st, even if they owe the utility company money. It's called the hardship rules. So
Yeah, it sounds like if they were threatening you, it sounds like they're just trying to scare you.
yeah, they're trying to make you. It's illegal. I mean, they'll threaten to disconnect, but they shouldn't be able to because of these hardship rules. Not only that, there are rules and protections for there are protections for and special things we can do if you are if you have a medical need. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked on all of this.
No, this is important stuff. I think it's fine.
Just reading all those laws and things because, laws. But we care for you, Donald, and so, you're important, so we've got to figure this out. We definitely do not want them shutting off your power. You need that.
But it has a $250 limit. Takes renewed doctor's form filled out.
Okay. So it just means a trip to the VA. Which, not awesome. I have to say, I'm not going to complain about the VA that much because Dad went an extra 20 years because of the VA.
Right, but I mean, if it's every year, then it sounds like that's 1 or 2 days out of your year, right? Mm-hmm. To just make sure you're safe and you have what you need.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my gosh, the 15th was only 3 days ago. It feels like that was a month ago.
Yeah. My kiddo's birthday just passed. My kiddo is now 14. I'm not ready for that. I am not ready for 14. Just gonna say that now. It's like 2 days ago that same kid was like 5. And now we're dealing with 14. I'm not sure I'm ready for that at all.
Yeah, it's wild. What's happening? Everything's moving so fast.
Was that thump?
What's happening to me? Stop moving so quickly.
No, I'm with you, my friend. I totally am with you about not wanting to do that. I totally understand that. But you also got to stay alive, man. Got to stay alive.
I mean, I've been on food stamps once for a couple months. That was when I was out there in Los Angeles. I was doing my internship, an unpaid internship. And when I applied for food stamps, I had never felt so low in my life. So I can sympathize on the type like my colleagues at the internship. Like, they brought in food. They made sure I had plenty to eat. They're like, what do you need? Do you need food? Do you need water? Like, what do you need? And like, they encouraged me to apply for food stamps as well to sort of help. And it felt awful. Like, I felt like I had failed. But like, that's what the system is there for, into that system. And so I mean, it's like you're paying into the system and now you're taking a little bit out, right? So like one, you've been paying into the system your entire working life, and two, you're just a human being ultimately, and things happen, and we all have hardships every once in a while, and so it's not a shameful thing to ask for help. You know, it's not like ha ha ha, I'm doing it on purpose to take advantage of the economy. You're not doing it on purpose. Don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Uh, Kaiser, to ask your question, my child is really phenomenally good at music and can't draw to save their lives. So,
He's creative just in a different way.
yeah, it expressed itself completely differently with him.
Mhm.
So, that's fine.
My mom was a musician like I was. She pushed me to do flute like her, even though I originally wanted to do cello. But she pushed me to do flute like she did. But I ended up going into piccolo, and then saxophone, and then a wide variety of other instruments. I only started drawing because I went into animation for my first college degree instead of X-ray tech. So it was kind of an accident that I ended up drawing. Yeah, here we are. Well, I think it depends on the parent. If a parent is creative and artsy, I think it's more likely that the child's artistic endeavors will be supported.
Yeah.
I personally have found that if parents aren't artists or aren't creative in some way, be it dance or singing or drawing or whatever, like they're more likely to say, "Hey, don't do that. That's a waste of time."
Yeah.
All of the parents that I've had, like all of the family members that I've had that have been non-artistically inclined have told me that it's stupid to do or that it's a waste of time. And all of the family members that have been creative in some way have been somewhat supportive or been really supportive. So I think it just depends on the person. And then there are some parents that aren't artistically inclined at all, but really supportive of their kids and doing whatever is interesting to them. So I think it's more likely that if a child shows some creativity or some creative interest, that parents who are also creative are more likely to support it, thus encourage it, and thus not say stop doing that. So I think it's not necessarily that kids inherit it from their parents. I think it's more like those parents are more likely to support their kids.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like if your kid is artistically inclined, but you squash that talent like immediately when you see it, and you don't encourage them to grow, and you don't encourage them to keep working on it, it's not going to become a skill, right? Like Mozart was a child, right? Like, but he had people who supported him in that endeavor. If he hadn't been supported, or if he didn't have the support system that he did, we may never know who he was.
Yep.
You know? So you can have a knack or a talent for something, or an innate dormant ability, but if you don't practice it, or if you don't live in a space that encourages it, it'll never develop. And sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader. I definitely had to be my own cheerleader.
Yeah.
I wasn't encouraged to draw as a kid. At least not my mom, but like she would take my stuff away from me and tell me to go study instead. That's why I started when I was much older. But see, art isn't about being good. Art's about having fun. That's literally the point. Like, if you're only doing art because you want to be good, that's a really bad reason to be doing art, personally. Like, if you want, like there's the idea of like, oh, I need to be good so that I can have a living at this. But like, if you don't enjoy doing art for its own sake, you will never make it to the point where you can make money at it. Personally. I don't know if Guy thinks the same way, but...
I do art because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, otherwise, like, my soul starts to die.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about it. Is it's like I was always creative in some way. Like, I did band. That was how I expressed my creativity, was through music. And through music was how I learned about storytelling, because my band director... I had the same band director for 7 years because he taught all of us. It was a really small school. Like, my high school was 250 people. Like, that's how small the school district was. and he taught band at all of the schools, and all of the bands like marching, jazz, concert band, symphonic band, um, um, competition band. Like he did all of it. Steel drum band, pet band, jazz band, marching band. He directed all of it, and he taught us. So like when we were preparing for a concert, right? When we got a new song or new set of songs, we would do a blind listen. So we'd have no sheet music in front of us. We would just listen, and he would tell us like, okay, like let's write about the feelings and the colors and like the scenes that you saw while you were listening, or while you listen. And then afterwards, we would talk about the composer's notes and the history of that song and blah blah blah. And then eventually, we would go measure by measure and create a whole story together with the music that we were playing. And so for me, that was sort of like my first introduction to storytelling, in addition to like my English classes and stuff. And so for me, like I really learned about pacing and timing through sound rather than through like animation, right? And so then when I started studying animation, I already understood pacing. I already understood the idea of ebb and flow and fast moments and slow moments. I already understood that. And so I think that helped a lot when I was starting to do like visual narrative storytelling. And I learned that when I changed from my animation degree to my illustration degree, there were a lot of illustration students that just didn't get it. They didn't get it, which was weird.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's cool, Kaiser. Like if that's what you want to get out of it, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Like if you want to like express something and share like an emotional experience with people, that's a completely valid and common reason people do artwork.
I mean, so I also believe that often art is about telling a story to make people think. I'm a Trekkie. I will always be a Trekkie. I'm a Star Trek fan all the way down to the core of my being. And Star Trek has always been talking about our situation, our condition, all of the things, the human condition. And it goes and it talks about that routinely. Let's put it this way. And I feel like that's definitely something that is a driving force for me. I want to make sure that my artwork has a message, and I need it to have a message. And so routinely I make my artwork have a message.
And really, go ahead, finish your thought. Sorry.
I was just saying my comics have a message.
I was gonna say a really good example of art getting reactions out of people. Guy, do you remember the show Bud Shark and His Incredible Ink?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so for you guys who don't know, there's this guy who, at the time, I forget what year, well, I want to say it was 2012, 2011, I think, because I'm pretty sure I was studying animation at the time that it happened. This guy called Bud, like, he has this traveling show, and at the time it was called Bud Shark and His Incredible Ink, and he had a lot of commentary artwork, like political commentary work, and one of his pieces, I'm going to try to say this as YouTube friendly as possible. One of his pieces was Jesus doing a adult act on the Pope. Let's put it that way. On his knees. Let's put it that way. And this lady from Montana was so upset about this artwork that she drove from Montana to the gallery in town, in Colorado, where I lived, not where where I lived in northern Colorado, went in, like, broke the glass and tried to destroy the artwork because she was so upset about it. How dare you draw Jesus doing that? And it's like, that's successful artwork. That gave her such an emotional reaction that it made her physically drive like 1,000 miles to take care of this. to do
Right.
this thing. And like that's what art does. That's what art should do. Like jokes on her, it was a copy, so she didn't.
Right.
So it didn't do anything to stop him. But but that was the point, was to make a comment, on like the Catholic Church. That was the point.
Not the first time that's happened.
Right? Yeah.
Connor.
Exactly. So like, but like that to me is what art, or the banana. The banana is another great example. The banana taped to a wall. People lost their ever-loving minds over that artwork, but it's like that's the point.
That's the point.
That was literally, or the toilet. That's not
Dadaism.
real art.
Good
Well, it
old-fashioned Dadaism. Oh my gosh.
Right? It's like that's literally the point, is to like to start a conversation. That's the point of the artwork. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole category of art that the whole purpose is to start a conversation. And I'm like, and when you react like that, you are literally like it's literally a banana taped to the wall with a piece of duct tape. And that's the art piece.
That was the art piece.
And people lost their minds about it.
All about that as well. I mean, Dadaism in the early 1900s, mid 1900s, was the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. What are we doing? What are we doing? Lost control of the clip.
And that's why I laugh when people get so butthurt over what art and art isn't. And I'm like, look, art is commentary. Art is expression. Art is saying something. And if it evokes a reaction out of people, congratulations, you're successful as an artist.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Agreed.
But yeah, this lady drove like hundreds of miles just to destroy an artwork because she was so offended by it. When she literally, and by doing that, she literally like made Bud Ink's point.
Yep.
So it's crazy to me that people act that way.
I'm just gonna put some background in here just so that we kind of. Modern art, just like all art, has its place. And I was with you. I was totally with you until I took art classes. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay. I see. The whole point here is what Jackson's talking about there is that, that's the whole point, is to evoke a feeling.
Yeah, like the point of modern art isn't to be good, isn't to be technically accurate. Like the point of modern artwork is to start a conversation about whatever that topic is.
Yeah.
I feel like you're being a little hateful right now, to be completely honest. When it comes to talking down about modern art, like that's not a productive way to handle this conversation. And you're entitled to your opinion. And I think like hating a type of artwork is like, you're entitled to do that. But I feel like closing your mind to the discussion isn't productive.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you think about modern art as boiling down the essence of the feeling, hey cheeks, boiling down the essence of the feeling to its core concept. So the artwork is all about evoking the feeling and evoking the impulse on people so that they can join in. I think that's kind of part of it. And that's why, it makes total sense. You've got kind of a thing. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's also kind of silly. People sometimes do the weirdest things.
Oh yeah, there's definitely quite some bullshit going on there.
Not gonna disagree with that one.
Yeah, definitely not.
But that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, I think it's cheap to dismiss it though. Miso, stop.
This picture's not doing as good as I wanted it to. I'm still off by a lot.
You're gonna have to wait a minute, Miso.
I mean, it's not bad, but I'm kind of sitting there going, having that moment of sort of, mm, mm.
I think it has its place in society, and
It
I
does.
feel like being immediately dismissive of it says more about you than the artwork. Personally. All right, I'm gonna go feed my cat. She's bugging me for attention or something. I'll be right back.
Okay. I am going to attempt to put the watercolor brush down and see what kind of damage we cause here. Just kind of laying down some of this watercolor here. Oh, I agree. It's a good artist too. Okay, I'm going to take my watercolor brush and just kind of go in here. And we're just going to wash the watercolor here. I'm getting some chaos in here. This is good. There you go. That is not what I want. I'm gonna bleed it out a little over here. Just kind of bleed through here. By the way, tonight's piece that I've been working on is an exercise. This is just me exercising, practicing, and I didn't quite hit what I was looking for on my eyeballing the landmarks on the face. So I didn't hit the landmarks like I wanted to. Mork from Orc was inspired by Star Wars. Sculpture. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, Kaiser. I'd go for I guess that would work. Oh, well, thanks, Pymo. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm working on light and value and just trying to kind of pull some of this together. I'm not ecstatic about it, but it's not bad. Certainly not horrible. Just kind of, like I said, pulling the light and the values from the light. So they did Mork. That works. There we go. Kind of go around here, and then I'll go up onto this level here and do this. I'm getting quite a bit of color down here from this. It's actually backing up the color on the outfit because this isn't quite, it's not fully realized. I was just sketching. So, but there are things we can do that would make it definitely feel more realistic. Put just white on the edges here and kind of go around like that and hit just pieces and parts of the face like so. Just come around like that. That will help a lot. And this is orange, so we'll take this orange and run it all the way up to the top there. And then I'll take this brush and just kind of trace along the top. And that will help a lot on the feeling of whether this is not ephemeral, but actually has some reality to it. And then you always kind of bleed out the trailing edge. So we'll go in ahead and come back around here and just kind of bleed out this trailing edge here. And then the same thing over here, we'll just bleed out this trailing edge. And that gives it a sharp edge on one side and then just blurring out into the piece on this side. And it sort of makes it look like this side of the object is being hit by light coming from there. Well, now we add more chaos because I need chaos. I like chaos. Chaos is awesome. Just kind of yeah, he was on Happy Days before he was on his own show. My mom worked with him a little bit, Robin Williams, because they shot a lot of the stuff here because the show took place in Boulder. And so they would shoot anything live, which had to be shot here. That's throwing sparks. That's not what we want. Maybe. No, that doesn't work either. I have kind of a better... I need more of a... You can hate chaos, but I love it. Chaos makes everything so much better. It ups the level on things. And, everybody has an opinion, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I miss Robin Williams too. He's a good guy. Kevin Conroy, yeah. I'll agree with that. Only 5 minutes left.
Only 5 minutes.
Only 5 minutes left. We are almost at the end.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh. Finish what you're doing.
Please. It's only midnight. It's only almost midnight over here. I'm just getting started.
Right? That's fair.
And I get tomorrow off. Hell yeah.
I don't. I got to go to class. Yeah.
You guys don't have President's Day off?
Well, yeah, I don't. I mean, I have not
For
seen
class?
anything that says that we've got tomorrow off.
Now, most colleges were shut down on national holidays. Because tomorrow's the Observance Day.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you do actually get it off.
I hope so too. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I only have one class, and it's my cultural anthropology.
Oh, that's ironic.
Yeah, she
Me
still has
so.
class. But it's my cultural
Me so.
anthropology class, which is great because I actually really love that, and that's in my core. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to complain. I can stand to have the class. That's not going to hurt me at all.
Misa, you can't sit up here.
I just worry about all those people who, you know, have the class because of the word prerequisite. You know, those guys are the ones that are like, do we have to have it? You know, for me, I'm like, no, I can stand to have another day of this.
To be completely honest, I hated my anthropology class.
Aw.
I think part of it was the teacher.
Yeah.
Like the teacher that I had. Okay, so I technically took anthropology twice because I failed it the first time. But I failed it on a technicality because the teacher had a policy of if you could miss 2 classes for any reason. But if you missed a 3rd class for any reason, automatic 60%.
Wow.
Even with a doctor's note, she didn't care. She didn't care why you missed a class. Miso, stop. You're being a pest. Anyway, so I missed I missed 1 class because I had a fever of 103. It didn't feel like going to class that day.
Right. Weird.
And then no, Miso, it's not for you. It has barbecue. Toxic for you. Why are you being a pest today? Goodness gracious. She's in everything today. She's having a George day.
Yeah, right?
Anyway.
Don't be like George. He's a pest.
Yeah. Anyway, so I missed 1 day for a fever. Oh, bye, Kaiser.
See you later, Kaiser.
And then I missed more days because I went to New York Comic-Con with the college to represent the college. And they still counted against me. Wow. And when I got back to class, she's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that you missed X days, and because of that, you have a failing grade." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, you got dropped down to 60%, and I think I had a 94% beforehand." And so because it was 64% minus the other 6 that I'd already lost because I had 94. So that brought me to a 54. So I was failing. And I'm like, okay, I understand. Is there anything I can do, like extra credit? Can I write a paper? Like, is there anything? And she's like, oh no, I said on the syllabus that there is no extra credit in this class. I'm like, so you're telling me that we're not even at midterms yet and I'm already failing? And she's like, yeah, basically. I'm like, okay. And there's nothing I can do to get those points back? No. Okay. So I just stopped showing up.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time if there's...
point.
Yeah. Like, mark me as absent. I'm not going to do the assignments. Like, I'm not going to show up if there's nothing I can do. And so I failed. I failed that class. And then I took it again with a different teacher the next semester. And I passed. I mean, that teacher was way better, but it kind of ruined it. It wasn't fun for me.
Basically,
you just scratched the frick out of my arm.
Yeah, I mean, way to disenfranchise you too.
Yeah.
And like, okay, cool.
Like I was completely willing to like write like if she would have asked me to write a 50-page paper so I could pass, I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't even give me that chance. And she'd been there. She'd been teaching there for like 20 years or something.
Hmm.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that she'd been like that for a long time. With one of the other professors at the college. I remember like I was crying about it because that was my first F. Like I'd never failed before. I was
Right.
crying about it in the garden in the illustration building. And when the teachers came up and basically was like, "Yeah, I failed her class for the same reason. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine." He's like, "She's just that way. You're good."
And been there for 20 years. That's kind of a thing.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't keep you too long because you have class tomorrow.
I got class tomorrow. But it's my like I said, it's my cultural anthropology,
So it'll be fun for you.
which is my major. So,
Yeah, that's your thing.
and I'm absolutely fascinated with everything that I have been learning in this class.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's good.
I mean,
Yeah, I think if it were taught in the right way with the right person, it could be fun. And I like studying other cultures.
Yeah.
I just don't like. I think it was just her approach that I didn't like.
oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. And it's
Anyway,
totally fine. Yeah, I know. I was like, somebody's got the police going out there.
I was like, oh, I feel bad about like dissing your major. Sorry, it wasn't your major. It was just the way. It was just a lady. It was just the teacher.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. Well, and it's like everything. If we all liked the same things, nothing would ever get done except one thing. So, I mean, part of the cool part about being human and living with other humans is all of us have different skills and we all have different interests and we all have different, all kinds of stuff. I am most certainly not bothered or offended. Or,
Good. I've thought about it. And I'm like, oh shoot, I feel really bad now.
No, there's no reason to feel bad about that. That's no, don't worry about it. Because like I said, if we were all designed to do the same thing, then we wouldn't get anywhere. So anyway, that's all cool. I, however, am going to. Yep. Oh, I live by that, my friend, because I teach, so I totally live by that credo.
Yeah, the right teacher makes all the difference.
If I was a bad teacher, so I don't know if I said this. I'll say this before. I'm going to drop this bomb before going. That's going to be nice. But I read in the newspaper that one of my kids was killed in a car accident. And I recognized the name, and I knew the school she was from and stuff like that. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt, and she was ejected from the vehicle. Everybody else survived the crash, but since she wasn't wearing a seatbelt, she was ejected. And I thought about that, and I've been kind of bugged by it a little bit, obviously, because I teach. So for those of you guys who don't know, I teach driving school. So I teach the 30-hour in classroom version or part of driver's ed. And I remember her name because it was a really unique name. And so when I saw her picture and her name, I was like, oh yeah, I remember she was in my class in July, back in last July. And this accident happened December. I think it was December. And I was just like, oh man. But it was apparently she didn't know the driver very well because it was one of those, they were coming back from a party and she didn't want to drive, or she couldn't drive or whatever. So she opted to just pile into this other car with these other people. And there were too many people in the car. So she didn't have a seatbelt on because she was just sitting on somebody's lap. And when the car lost control on I-25, it flipped over and rolled, and when it did, she was ejected. And so it was one of those things where it's like it just hurt. I was like, oh man. But I was telling the kids today that because like this has now become part of my story.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere but the location. I don't tell the story at the location where her school. Usually they come from her school because those kids know her, and so
Right.
I
That makes
don't
sense.
traumatize the kids, you know. But yeah, and it was just I've been kind of struggling with that one a little bit, you know.
But that's definitely not your fault.
Of
I mean,
course,
I know you know that.
of course not. But
And
like all teachers, I mean, I had a kid commit suicide when I was in Japan. I lost one of them because he didn't do well in the tests, and I lost one of them there too. Losing a kid hurts, and these faces are burned in my brain. You know what I mean? Like I won't forget them.
yeah.
And it's one of those things. Being a teacher, it's all about being a teacher. It's the part of being a teacher that you end up with, which, you know, 'tis the way it goes. It is what it is. And no, I don't. I guess does it make sense to say I don't take it personally?
No, I
However,
think that makes sense because like you can't be there holding their hand all
there's
the time.
no
And
way. Yeah,
all you
and
can do is teach them the way and hope that they follow that.
right. There is absolutely no way I could have prevented this or done anything about it. There's absolutely no way. And I know it. And I know
Yeah.
that's the
But it
deal.
still hurts.
It does hurt. And it was not what I expected to find when I went hunting out on the internet that one night. Because I was looking for, we show a movie, and the movie is, you know, it's one of the ones where it's, you know, you want to, you know, you sort of scaring the kids straight sort of movie.
Yeah.
We only have one of those. And it's so I just was like, you know, how much of this movie is actually real? And found out that a good portion of that movie is real. Those accidents really did happen. But yeah, it was that was what I was out there doing. I did not, but of course, Google being Google, if you type in accident, it looks for accidents near you. You know,
That are
instead
recent,
of
yeah.
looking for the accidents all over the world, it started concentrating on Denver and the Denver metro area. And that's when it pulled that up. And I was like, oh man, you know, it's just like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that wasn't what I was out here for. Not what I was trying to do here. So anyway, no, I don't blame myself. I don't think it's my fault by any stretch of the imagination, but I do certainly feel it, you know.
You think about it from time to time.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's
Has it impacted how you teach now?
not a lot. I mean, I'm a little bit more heavy-handed about seatbelts, but I've always kind of been heavy-handed about seatbelts. So it's kind of like, hey, don't screw around with this. Wear your seatbelt. You know, this is not worth it.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
had a story. You guys, you know, David, who's usually on here. David was an EMT, and that's what he was doing for a while. And he went out on a rollover, and I guess what had happened was the kids in the back seat had unbuckled, and the mom started yelling at them, and she unbuckled to yell at them, and the dad started yelling at them, and then the dad lost control of the vehicle, and the vehicle rolled. And I always tell the story because it killed, of course, it ejected the children, it ejected the mom, and killed them. The dad was fine, absolutely fine. And it took them, because it was out in Sterling, it took them 34 minutes to get out there.
Yeah, to get
And,
there.
oh, I'm sure, Donald, I hate to say this, but I'm sure I've lost more. We lose a lot of kids at varsity games, and we lose a lot of kids at homecoming. I'm sure there's more. I haven't seen them. This is the first one that I've seen. But anyway, yeah, he rolled out on there, and he said, I could handle the kids. It was horrible. It was terrible, but we're trained for that. I couldn't deal with the dad. because he was fine. He was absolutely okay. And he'd wiped out his entire family. And he's like, that was it. And he quit. He quit that day. That was the day he walked away. He just
That's, I can't even imagine. That's gotta be rough.
Yeah, so I usually tell the kids that story because it's more impactful. And it does speak to a couple of different things, keeping control of your vehicle, not getting involved in whatever's going on in the backseat of your car. And if something is happening, pull over, stop the vehicle, speaks to a lot of things that, I want the kids to kind of pay attention to. But yeah, this one just hurt because she's a kid that I remember. And, I don't remember all of them. I get a new set of kids every week. So I don't remember all of them. And so it was just rough. It was just a particularly rough one. And Donald's right. It is because I care. That's actually one of the questions on the little student questionnaire. They're like, do you think that your teacher cares? And everybody all the way across the board says that, they felt that I cared for their well-being. I was interested in them learning, to drive and drive safely. And they felt very much that it was something I was, invested in. So, which is good. I do care. These kids, they are, they're kind of, they're special. Every kid's special, obviously, but it's gotten a little bit weirder now because my kid's 14. So I'm kind of empathizing more with the kids, please guys, don't die. All of you guys, don't die. Just don't, So anyway, that's a depressing note to leave the show on.
I don't necessarily think it's depressing. I think it's more insightful to the idea that when you have a community, you're you feel some responsibility for them. I feel the same with Global Comics. When I see creators that aren't doing well, when they speak about it online, I'm not getting the engagement that I want, I'm not getting the views that I want, people don't like my artwork, I want to give up, I want to quit. That hurts. Yeah. It's not the same type of hurt, no, but it feels sense. Like
you care.
Yeah, it feels like you've failed them in some way. Yeah. At least that's the feeling that I get. Is I feel like I've failed them in some way to help them grow and get the views that they want. And it's hard to not take that personal degree,
right?
Or to feel some form of responsibility for it, at least initially. So yeah, I definitely understand. I can empathize with how you're feeling there.
And there, let's do this. Even though I know it's your icon, I'm not broadcasting anymore, so I kind of feel like it's a little awkward for a big me head, So that seems weird. So I'm gonna go with this one here, which is much better. Yeah, and I agree. It's all about caring. It's what Donald's talking about. It's all about caring.
Yeah.
It's not just that I'm not in this job because it's a job. Yeah, it's nice to be getting a paycheck. It's nice to be getting money because obviously I like eating. However, but on the flip side, I was just saying this today to, the gal who works the office at the location I was at today. I went to work today. And it's like, I enjoy this job. I really do. I know I'm making a difference. These kids are gonna.
Yeah.
These kids are going to be doing well because of me, hopefully. But I'm making a difference in their lives. And that really does mean something to me.
Yeah.
It's nice to know. It's nice to know. It's good to make a difference in people's lives. So, Miso's just being a pest. Miso's live tonight.
You're like, pick me up. No, put me down. Pick me up. No, put me down. No, pick me up again. No, I want your lap this time.
Right? You're like, Miso, really?
Yeah, she's just in the mood, and it's fine.
Right.
ended up putting a blanket on the desk so that she has her own space and I have mine. That way she can be next to me and not in my lap.
Yeah, my roommate has got a little heating pad
Yep.
and put it on the chair so that George will sit in the chair because he actually really wants George to hang out with him. And
Mm-hmm.
George, the thing about George is that he's still very young.
Yeah.
So George isn't really hot on the lounging all day thing yet. He hasn't gotten to
Mm-hmm.
that stage of catnip. So, he likes to come over here during the show. He likes to get up right here and walk in front of the screen, because he's an active cat still. He's still in that age of I've got things to do and people to see, and you know. So that's cool, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
funny that James wants to do that. That cracks me up.
It's
So
adorable.
anyway, it's just one of those things. He wants George to hang out with him during the day because James works from home, so he's
Mm-hmm.
here all day, even when I'm at school or whatever. And George is like, "Well, I don't know what to do now because I went to school, so I'm going to pester somebody." Cracks me up every time. I'm like, really? This is your battle plan?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Really, bro?
tomorrow morning I'm gonna try another run on this drawing that I just did. I'm going to do a little bit different this time, though. So I'm sketching in just rough landmarks on this to kind of get sort of the idea of where I was before. But since I don't go to class until 1, I'm going to be online tomorrow morning.
Nice.
So you may actually be joining me, but you'll be working, so you won't join. But you might actually be out there in the ether.
I'll be working on manga for sure. Yeah, because I have tomorrow off. I
Oh,
might
that's
be
right. You
doing.
have tomorrow off.
Mhm.
You don't have to be here, though. So I don't want you to feel obligated to be here.
Well, I'll be working on manga anyway. Because it's like it's a day off and I don't get like a ton of them because I'm terrible about asking for days off.
Yeah.
My boss is like, "You need to ask for more days off," and I'm like, "Okay," and then I forget.
Yeah. I hear that. So.
That was actually part of his review for me. He's like, "You didn't ask for enough time off."
Right.
Just funny, ironic.
That was actually, I got my review too, and that was one of the things they talked about on my review. And that was, they were like, the kids love you. Everything is great. No, there's nothing wrong. We love you know your Colorado law really well, things like that. But could you do better on your paperwork?
Oh, I remember you saying about talking about the paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the paperwork too. It's always the paperwork.
Like, you know what that reminds me of is Roz from Monsters Inc. She's always complaining about Mike Wazowski and his paperwork.
Yes.
That's what that reminds me of.
Because it's like I do a good job. The kids obviously enjoy my classes. I've gotten now a white wig. I'm all proud of my white wig because I go through this entire section where I talk about cars and how the weather and everything affects the vehicles. And I was like, don't let Isaac Newton drive your car for multiple reasons, not the least of which is he does not have a valid Colorado driver's license. And so, that's always like my ongoing joke. So now I've got a white wig so that it can actually be like I put the wig on so I look like Isaac Newton, and I'm like, don't let Isaac Newton drive your car. Cracks me
That's
up.
funny.
And as soon as I said that, my boss was like, see, this is why we like having you here in this company. I'm like, I have no shame. I have zero
shame.
Like, don't even worry about it. I got no shame whatsoever. I'll get up there in front of all that class with a white wig on. And I did it too the first time, and I had like this squad of girls in the middle of the class, and they just busted out laughing. Because they had already been like, he tells weird jokes, so they were kind of like not sure.
Yeah.
But then I pulled out the wig, and they were like, that's it. We know we like this guy. We're in. That's fine.
I remember when I the very first class I had with Gary Barker, my like home quote quote homeroom illustration teacher. He's
Uh-huh.
like in Garfield for like 30 years. The very first spirit that I had with him, like I sat in the front, and then when he walked in, I was like, nope. Something about him like was intimidating to me, and it was just me. But like I went to the back as soon as like I picked up my stuff, went and walked all the way to the back, and just sat in the back. After, like I'd been set up and ready to go, but as soon as he walked in, I moved to the back, and I'm like, nope, I'm just in the back.
That's funny.
And I feel bad. I'm like, I hope he didn't feel bad that I moved.
Well,
And he ended up being my
usually
favorite
I'll
teacher.
if I end up with a kid that does that, I'm always like, okay, that was weird. Whatever happened. I mean, not that specifically, because I've never actually had a kid do that, but something like that. I don't know if I
Yeah.
would assume you didn't like me. I would assume something else. I don't know. I don't think I'd assume that you were, oh, I don't like this guy.
Yeah,
Or
he
whatever.
ended up being my favorite teacher.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Miso, what is it, Miso? You just want to cuddle? Yeah. Yep, you're gonna lay on my arm so that I can't draw.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get a desk that has the left side, like where you can put all the stuff. Because right now, like the desk is, like it has the hole where the chair goes on the left side, so that way the right side is where all that stuff goes. So Miso sits over there, but then when she sits over there, she leans on my arm, and she's leaning on my drawing arm.
Oh, yeah. That's not good.
So when I end up moving to my new apartment, whenever that is, wherever that is, I have to get a desk because I don't have a desk. I don't own one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one that is on the other side, a left-handed person's desk, basically. Or I might just get like a cheap table because I don't need a fancy desk. Just get a cheap table and set myself up on the other side.
That works. I could see that.
Yeah, that way she can have my left arm and I can still keep working with my right arm. Or I can just learn to be left-handed.
I'll just keep working with my left hand. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm real quickly just putting in colors and stuff like that before we go.
You're good. I'm just doodling.
Yeah, because tomorrow I'm going to try this one more time. Because I think I can do better. I don't think it was bad. I just think I can do better.
It was the first draft.
Yeah.
Miso. What you looking at me like that for? She's like, how dare you move? I am offended.
Alrighty. Just going in here and just kind of making sure I've gotten pretty much all the colors off of here. Make sure that I got that straightened out. There we go. That should be a much better start tomorrow. We'll get that going. Hoping for it anyway. There's a lot of browns in this. There we go. Alrighty. And we'll start this one tomorrow. All right, I'm gonna go to bed though because it's 11:24. And I'll see you later, Donald. Hope you have a lovely evening. And we will see you later on. I want to thank, by the way, we've had a lot of people on tonight. We had the Kaiser on here and Cheeks is on here, which I really appreciate you guys being here. And we had Pymo for a little bit and just dropped in to say a couple of things. And that was cool too. We had Thomas in here for a bit. Wanted to say hi to that. And Stealth Leos, which is kind of cool. We had a very lively discussion going on. It was actually pretty cool. Brad was here a little earlier. We've got, let's see, I'm just going back through the thing. Just seeing what's on here. And we, of course, we had Brent in the beginning. We had Chaco for a couple of times, but then they dropped off somewhere along the line. That's what I was rolling back on to see, because that was a big, lively discussion at the very top of the show. Either way, I really appreciate all of you guys being here today. I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you were very productive. I hope you got a lot of work done. I'll see you all tomorrow morning as we prep up for, I guess, on President's Day. And I'm going to go read some of the articles that I have to read for my cultural anthropology class. And as always, I remind everybody to keep looking at the stars. So keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye, guys.
Good night.